Okay. Hi, Sarah.
Hi,
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. I'm all right, thank you. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, so my name's Sarah Lester and I'm an adult nurse lecturer at the University of Derby.
Do you want to tell us a little bit about your career so far?
Yeah, so I started off on a diabetic ward and that got changed to an acute medical ward. We've got quite a lot of poorly patients on there, so it got changed. And alongside doing that, I was looking full time and I topped up my degree. So I did that alongside working. And once I finished that, I then moved to an endoscopy unit. So I moved to endoscopy and did a lot of teaching there. And from there, I moved to a clinical educator post. So I looked after specifically the nursing associates.
What made you go into lecturing?
So I love teaching. So I actually trained and studied at the University of Derby. And I can remember being in a practical session and looking up at the lecturer and thinking, yeah, I'd love to do this. I'd really like to do this. So when I first qualified, my main aim was to go into education, to go into teaching. So when I first qualified, I loved having students, I loved having new staff members, and just kind of to support and nurture them, giving them good evidence-based practice, good proper practice, safe practice, and just help them on their journey to become nurses. So yeah, that's why I went into lecturing, to kind of support and nurture students on their journey.
Brilliant. So if you weren't a nurse, what would you be doing?
So I always said if I wasn't a nurse, I'd really like to open up a cafe. The reason I'd like to do that is because I'd love just to talk to old people, make them cups of tea, make them coffee, make them cake, have a good natter, sit down with them. So yeah, I think I'd open up a cafe.
One of the questions that the students asked was, what was one silly mistake that you might have made as a student or as a newly qualified nurse?
So when I first qualified, I had just finished my 4th long night shift, so you can imagine I was pretty tired. We had on the ward 3 sets of keys, so we had 2 smaller sets, we had 1 big set, and it had a massive lead pipe on the end, so it's like this big, and it was basically so you couldn't fit it in your pocket and you wouldn't take it home with you.
Yeah.
So I finished my 4th night shift, took me about an hour and a half to drive home because of the traffic, rush hour traffic. As soon as I pulled up on the drive, I stood up to find the lead piping, or the lead pipe sticking out my pocket. So I didn't just have 1 set of keys, I had all 3. So I had a call from my boss to say you need to turn back round again and come back to work.
Yeah.
About an hour to get back to work, because I used to commute at that point. To turn up to have all the staff nurses standing there in front of the door like this, about 3 of them, waiting for their keys. So one top tip, when you qualify, please check your pocket for no keys.
Absolutely. I remember being on a night shift with one of my colleagues who went home with the keys.
Yeah.
And it was in the days before everyone had mobile phones. I mean, I'm not that old, but long enough ago. And I had to go round to her house.
Yeah.
Her mum let me in. I ended up in her bedroom searching for the keys, saying, don't worry, yeah, I know, one of your colleagues ends up in your bedroom. That's a bit weird, isn't it? I'll take the keys back to work for you. You stay asleep, don't worry. But it's such an easy mistake, isn't it?
I didn't have that. I had to go all the way back again.
Yeah, no. So, yeah, I think Steve Kedge told a story of how he'd taken the keys home with him as well as a student nurse. So it's easily done, but it's a big mistake, isn't it?
So easily done. It's really easy. You just want to get home, get to bed. So I always, like I say, do shifts now. Always check your keys before you go home.
Yeah.
Tip.
Definitely. So what are your hobbies outside of work?
So I'm part of a running club, so I like to go in quite a lot. I go to the gym quite a bit, do quite a lot of exercise classes. I love to go on walks, walk the dog, and hopefully, when we're out of lockdown, I like to go down to the coast and do a bit of surfing. So yeah, that's me.
Whereabouts do you do that, locally or?
No, so
There's no local coast. But...
I go down to Devon or Cornwall, so
Okay.
It's normally like a long weekend kind of trip. But yeah, down south I like to go.
Excellent. And the final question is a bit of a strange one, but if you could only eat one thing for the rest of your life, what would it be?
So now we're obviously in lockdown when this has been recorded, I have ate cake and more cake So I would probably say cake. I think I've made about 4,000 batches of cake. So yeah, I think for the rest of my life, I'd be a cake eater.
Okay, that's fine. That's fair enough. I've really tried not to make cake during lockdown, because the problem is if you make cake, you eat cake.
I know, but it's so good.
But
So
all three of my daughters have had birthdays during lockdown, so I've had to make small batches of cake rather than like big batches of cake. But yeah.
Have they liked it?
Yeah, and tried to get them involved as well, so it kills a bit of time as well. Bit of homeschooling, bit of home economics.
Well, there you go. That's all right.
So that's brilliant. Thanks for talking to us, Sarah. Thanks for answering those questions, and hopefully the students will get to know you a bit better.
Yeah, and it'd be lovely to meet you all as well.
Yes, when we eventually get back.